hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Give My Head podcast. I'm Tim McGarry, joined as always by my comedy colleagues
Michael McDowell
and Damon Quinn.
Can you believe this is episode 101? We've done 101.
Wow.
First of all, a couple of plugs, ladies and gentlemen. Give My Head Peace is on tour next year, 2027. We're all over the place, all over the north and the south. We're going to Vicar Street in Dublin. We're going to Letterkenny. We're all over the place. We're in the Grand Opera House the last week of March 2027. Tickets available now. There's a link below here, Dan, isn't there? There's a poster and a link with all the dates. We're in Derry and all over the place, so please support us. You can buy your tickets now. Buy your tickets in August. Why not? It'll be a treat next March when you go, oh my God, I got tickets for Give My Head Peace. I didn't know that. We are also delighted to say, episode 101, we have a brand new sponsor. We have a brand new sponsor who has very kindly provided us with mugs. Can you see the mugs there? Well, if you're listening, obviously you can't see the mugs. It is the Errigal Inn on the Ormo Road. God bless the Errigal Inn. I'm now a regular at the Errigal Inn. Did you know the guy who runs the Errigal Inn, a guy called Philip McGurran? Do you know Philip? No? No. Wonderful man. Do you know why he's a wonderful man? He's called Philip after my grandfather, who actually delivered him.
Really?
My grandfather was a GP on the Dublin Road and delivered Philip McGurran. The Errigal Inn, fantastic bar. 3 bars in one. There's an off licence there. There's fantastic staff. There's the Oak Lounge, which is for more mature gentlemen to sit and put the word to rights.
That's the one I like.
Yes, the quiet one that has no music and all of that, but it's a beautiful little lounge. Then there's the main bar. Rugby people like it. There's the other bar to the left where you can watch sports and stuff. The food is fantastic in the Errigal. The staff are fantastic in the Errigal. I'd thoroughly recommend you visit up the Ormer Road. And sunshine, there's plenty of seats outside, and during the flan all's already been bunged, and it's a beautiful spot. The Errigal Inn, thank you very much for your sponsorship. I will see you very soon, because I do go quite regularly. And the staff are so nice. They're very good at throwing you out. They throw you out very gently.
In a gentle way.
At the end of the night.
Invite you to leave.
They don't
invite you to leave.
They don't scream in your face and swear at you. They go, Tim, come on now. Look at the time. Please go home.
So it's not Dr. Ali de Casbah?
No, it's not Dr. Ali de Casbah in Edinburgh, where we were many years ago. Which was, how was he asked to leave?
You'll have to bleep this.
You'll have to bleep this.
You would have to bleep it. I remember how they used to ask you to leave. They used to just get right into your face and go, "Did you not hear what I said, cunt? Get out!"
Yes, the Errigal is not like that. The Errigal Inn, excellent food, excellent hospitality, excellent drink, very well priced. If you like your sport, go to the sports bar. If you like a bit of quiet, go to the Oak Lounge, the Errigal Inn on the Ormer Road. Thank you very much for your support. Episode 101. Last week, 100th episode. That was pretty good. We had Lisa McGee, the writer of Derry Girls. We've had politicians, we've had writers, we've had comedians. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going too serious. Well, we were going to get a little bit serious, but we're absolutely delighted to have with us a man who we know well from many years ago from the BBC, a man who's been in the news recently, which we'll get to later, but it is Mr. Vincent Kearney, journalist extraordinaire, previously with the BBC, now with RTE. Welcome to the Give My Head podcast.
Thank you very much, Tim. And just first of all, I have to say how relieved I am when you announced at the top you had a new sponsor. I thought, oh God, no, I walked into a trap. so I'm glad the new sponsor wasn't me.
Well, we were going to say we have a new sponsor, MI5, Army Intelligence, and Police Service of Northern Ireland.
Well, I have to say now, I've been using a phrase sort of over the last week or so an awful lot that I always wanted to use and didn't think I could. I've walked into our local bar, the Woodville, the Woody in Lurgan, where I would drink quite a bit, and with a Thursday night clubbing for 30 years. Same crowd of lads have met up on a Thursday night and put the world to rights. So last Thursday I bought all the regulars in the bar a drink and was able to say, lads, the drinks are on. MI5. And we're doing very well.
Yes, you're famous. Well, you've been a well-renowned and respected journalist for many, many years. Well, we'll get to that reason, because let's roll back a wee bit. We knew you in the BBC, well-known journalist. You're about our age as well, which is nice because we like that on this show, because people are our age. But you're a Westie originally, aren't you?
I am indeed, yes, a Westie.
Another successful Westie.
Yes.
Another one.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in the West are you from?
Well, Beach Beachmount originally, just off the Falls Road, and then St James's. So I went to St Paul's Primary School in Mega Drive, and then up to CBS Secondary School, and then to St Mary's, the grammar school. No, a proper grammar school. I went to
Is
St
that the
Mary's.
Christian Brothers one?
That's the Christian Brothers one, yeah.
Right.
yeah.
So, St Mary's, my brother went there as well. Yeah.
I went up there, yeah.
Right. And they give you a decent education because you went to Queen's University and studied politics and...
Social anthropology.
Right.
And
Okay.
I was looking for someone, just any sort of subject. I looked them up and said, right, I need a subject where I'll find relatively easy, where I can talk to people, just chat, interview people and write things down. And in many ways, it was good training for journalism, actually.
Right.
So we did politics and social anthropology.
Right.
And
So
it worked
you're
very
from
well.
West Belfast and you moved and you now live in Lurgan. Kind of out of the frying pan into the...
Correct. I married my good wife, Louise, in 1990. We met at Queen's, graduated on the same day. Were engaged before we actually left university.
Oh, wow.
And said, look, agreed to move to Lurgan for 2 years. I told all the mates.
Why Lurgan?
Oh,
She's from Lurgan.
Because we could afford a house there. And that's where she lived. We couldn't afford a house in Belfast. So we moved to Lurgan for 2 years, and I told all the mates, 2 years, and that's it. And they went, you'll never be back. And they were right.
I don't know why we're asking this, because we know all this because we've read your file. That's true. Yeah, you're bringing about point.
We'll get to your career in journalism, but you are famous recently because you've been in the news because you took £20,000, how dare you, of public money off the PSNI and the MI5.
And they're cash strapped, like
they're
they are cash strapped.
I wondered, you see, if you take money off MI5, does that make you like a Bond villain? You know,
It probably does at this stage,
you
actually.
should have a white cat or something.
I have a dog and 3 cats at home. If that counts.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to pay.
But I tell you what, it's putting my street cred through the roof.
Right, yeah.
My kids now think I'm really cool.
Well, let's go back to basics here. That some people may not know the story, but Vincent Kearney, BBC journalist, RTE journalist now. It turns out that your phone was being hacked by the security services, which is a very serious thing for a journalist, particularly as a journalist of your standing, who was dealing with all sorts of people in loyalist paramilitary organisations, Republican paramilitary organisations, and dealing with major political issues. And basically, the police were bugging you the whole time.
They were indeed. This came out back in February 2024. And I was walking past Belfast City Hall and got a phone call from a solicitor in town, Niall Murphy, very well known human rights lawyer. And he was representing 2 journalists, Barry McCaffrey and Trevor Burney.
We know Trevor well, he's been on the show,
Yeah, and he was it was called the Investigatory Powers Tribunal, the IPT, which is a very secretive group that looks into allegations of illegal surveillance. And Niall said, listen, we just need to make you aware that during this hearing, it's become clear to us that your phone has also been monitored. And the judges gave him permission to send me a screenshot of 4 pages. So I got a screenshot of 4 pages that were heavily redacted. But it was dead obvious reading them that it was my name. My name was there, redacted, and my phone number. But reading what it was about, I knew it was me.
Right.
And I thought, I always suspected they probably were monitoring. But seeing it in black and white was very different. So I thought that was it, and then I contacted the BBC, and the BBC lawyers immediately said, we'll take this on, and it turned out that was a tip of the iceberg. I mean, it mushroomed over the next 2 years.
Now, the Investigatory Powers Tribunal, just to be clear, that is like a court of redress for people who have been, if you like, who would have a grievance against state organisations, state actors. In your case, it was the police, it was MI5, it was the Metropolitan Police and the PSN.
Durham Police, GCHQ, were in the mix as well. I mean, we went into the court, I remember first. It's also very secretive. They hear a lot of stuff in secret that we're not allowed to hear. So, like, the hearing was in February and London over 3 days. First day of the hearing, I was allowed to be in along with the lawyers. Second, third day, MI5, PSNI, they were able to tell their stories.
Yeah, but so James Bond and his mates were able to go in, you weren't there, and say,
There's no cross-examination of them, no exam.
In the open day there was, and we walked in. It was remarkable because my wife Louise, she came over with me to see all this in action, and we walked in, and BBC had 2 great lawyers there. And lined up against them were 17 barristers.
17?
17 for the other. It was sorry, because I kept saying to people, who are those people there? And they would say, well, there's barrister. Because
they don't come cheap either.
Oh no, because MI5 had a couple, PSNI had a couple, and everyone else named had barristers in there. A lot of journalists turned up as well, but I mean, it's the first time I've seen, I think, the numbers in the press benches being outnumbered by the number of barristers.
Why did you give up being a barrister? You could have been there.
I don't even want to talk about it.
He wouldn't even needed a second week.
I know. I know.
And because they weren't even waked up, they were just wearing their normal suits.
I know.
No.
Yes.
Even better.
Yeah.
Like, just to get the background here, this far as you know, this surveillance goes back to the Dennis Donaldson murder.
Yes.
2006?
2006.
As far as you know, it started in 2006.
Yeah, because my very first job, I started working as Home Affairs correspondent for the BBC in 2006. My first job, or my first story, was Dennis Donaldson's murder. And coincidentally, MI5, when they admitted, monitoring my calls on two occasions, well, several occasions in 2006 and 2009. And so we reckoned that 2006 is probably Dennis Donaldson.
Just for younger listeners, Dennis Donaldson was a high-level Sinn Féin official who turned out to be a spy for the British.
Well, MI5.
For MI5, honestly, yeah.
He was exposed. He then went to live in Donegal and was shot apparently by dissident Republicans, but they claimed responsibility. But it was a major story at the time. Just for younger listeners who go, who the hell is Dennis
and
Donaldson?
one of the threads of that story was the fact that there were accusations that someone within maybe police special branch had been aware of what was happening. There were allegations from the family of potential collusion in his murder. So certainly there was MI5 had good reason to be listening in to conversations.
Right.
Or monitoring conversations.
Monitoring conversations you were having with people who knew these sort of things, people within the Republican movement or anything?
Well, even family members, was anyone at all you were talking to, I think it was
Right,
suspicious because it's come out then in the wash, to my case, that, Brian Rowan, who I succeeded in the BBC, Barney, Barney's phone also comes up in communications around at the same time, 2006. At that stage, Barney had written an article for the Belfast Telegraph about Dennis Donaldson's murder that perhaps MI5 and the PSNI weren't too keen on. Maybe information they weren't happy was in the public domain. So it seems a coincidence that both himself and myself, our phones became of interest around the same time.
And was this surveillance of journalists, was this part of Operation Mali? Or did that come later?
Operation Mali was Barney, the target operation.
Specifically Barney?
Alone. Yes, yeah. I was myself, during the inquiry became clear, I'd been the target of 7 different named operations by PSNI, along with 2 episodes from MI5 that we know of. But I mean, I'm not satisfied we know everything at all.
As far as you know, or what you've been told, or from what you've been given to understand, it wasn't listening in on your actual conversations. It was noting all the calls you made and to whom and who that belonged. For some reason, they had your car registrations and they had your family members' names, and your late mother-in-law you had her name and your wife's name and all of that. But as far as you know, they weren't actually listening to conversations. But they might well have been, but you don't know.
No, we don't know. From what we know, they were taking cell site, data. So if I was talking to you, your phone, your number came up, but also where you were. So if you were a source living in a rural area, for example, and you pinged up, it's quite easy for them to identify you. So certainly, from the police point of view, we believe that's all they were doing. But MI5 have been very secretive. We've been asking questions, and we don't know what they were doing. And the bottom line is, we know MI5 operate by listening to people as well. So we don't know that they weren't listening. The deep suspicion is they were. And even that profile you referred to earlier, that was drawn up by the PSNI, intelligence details, my wife, or my name, Louise's name, or her mum, our car registers. Why do you need that if you're not going to put someone under surveillance? Why do you need details of your car if you're not going to follow them? And those questions have been asked, and we still haven't received answers.
And in Barney Rowan's case, he kind of got tipped off by one of the cops who told him that who made a comment about they knew who he was. They could recall, or they could recount.
They could critique a conversation.
They could critique or recount the conversations he had, and the only way that they could critique it would be if they had a transcript or they were listening in and going, yeah, that thing when you said. So you're kind of thinking, well, if they did it to him, why didn't they do it to
exactly.
me?
I mean, I remember a conversation with the late PSNI Assistant Chief Constable Al McQuillan, and in the early 2000s, we're having coffee one day, and he said, just in conversation, he said, look, you would be naive to think that they're not across your phone. And when I said, look, are you saying that from a position of absolute direct knowledge? He said, no, I'm speaking from a position of knowing how these people work. He said, I'm telling you, work on the basis that your phone probably is being monitored. And I always have been suspicious, but I became extra suspicious and extra careful after that conversation.
This is a stupid question, possibly, but obviously this is illegal. This is there a law against MI5? Or do MI5 not go, well, look, I suspect that Damon Quinn's up to something, I want to monitor his phone? Do they go through a procedure there? Or this all is illegal, just going, you're a
it is.
journalist?
What are you picking me for?
They can do. I mean, there are legal avenues they can pursue, but the problem in each of these cases, I mean, the IPT found against the police and MI5 at every single point because the authorisations they got were illegal, unlawful. They actually lied during some of them. I mean, MI5 described me as a threat to national security.
Well.
The PSNI said they didn't have my number, didn't have my contact details. The press office had my contact details. So on a number of cases, they actively lied in order to get justification for these authorisations. So while there are legal avenues they could have followed, they didn't. They broke the law.
Well, I was going to say they can legally go after you. So I mean, they are entitled to do it, but they have to make the correct application. So it's perfectly.
They have to have some grounds.
Yeah, it's
They have the grounds, and journalists are given extra protection because it's a legal right to protect sources.
Right.
And this was riding roughshod over that. And that's where it gets really serious because over the years, as a journalist, you guarantee sources. You
Of
protect their
course.
identity.
Yeah.
And then you find out that behind your back, the cops and the spooks, as they're generally known, are actually trying to undermine your credibility.
And then they suspect you then.
Correct.
Of course.
That
Not only does it, in order to be a journalist, you have to have credibility with these people and the sources that you're dealing with. And they have to be able to trust you. Because if they don't trust you anymore, they're not going to talk to you again.
Correct.
So your worth as a journalist is somewhat diminished. But it's also, I mean, some unsavoury people might have decided that, it could have threatened your life.
Yeah, I mean, there was a very negative backlash. I had described it as a chill factor. I was approached by sources afterwards who were very angry. They suspected the calls had been listened to. I said, look, I don't think so, but I couldn't give them assurances. They suspected they may have been identified, particularly those you mentioned earlier, Tim, and within loyalist and Republican paramilitary organisations. Some people were talking to you without authorisation. Some were going below the radar, so they didn't think their identities were known. Suddenly they're panicking.
Yeah.
Have they been identified as sources? But if you play this all through, say, I was lucky because at the end of all these police investigations, they said they couldn't identify sources, but because I was careful.
Yeah.
But say they had identified a source on a major story, something quite sensitive and significant, and in the wash through legal proceedings, it emerged that they'd identified that source through my phone contact with them. You're absolutely right. That then endangers me.
Paranoia, fear.
Yeah.
All of that.
And that's what made it. That's what made it really dangerous.
Yeah, for you and your family.
Yeah.
Well, let me play devil's advocate and say, look, well, I'm at 5. You're talking to nasty people who have done bad things, and maybe you're getting, I'm investigating a murder, and you're talking to somebody who I suspect is involved in that murder, and I may get information on that murder. Is that not justifiable then?
Well, you see, this around the Stevie Carroll murder. I mean, there was an application around that.
This is the PSNI officer.
The first PSNI officer to be shot
murdered,
dead, killed by the continuity IRA, and I received a claim of responsibility. And there were protocols in place for that. So I, notified the BBC, notified the PSNI press office, received a phone call back from them, got a call back from Drew Harris, former Garda commissioner, and I think he was deputy chief constable, assistant chief constable then. I read the statement again, but I refused to make any further statement. And journalists over the years in troubles, you take claims responsibility for murders, for bombings, for attempted murders and bombings, but you don't sit down and give interviews because we all know where that goes. What did they sound like? What was their accent like? Where were they from? Did you know them? So journalists say no.
Yeah.
We're not evidence gatherers.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
I'm not there to do the job of the police. I'm there to do the job of a journalist. So can I understand them trying to find out information? Trying to sort of get to the bottom of who murdered Stevie Carroll? Of course I can. But the issue is there are laws that they have to abide. And you can't have the people charged with upholding the law deciding to break the law willy-nilly when it suits them. And the other bottom line is, as I said before, I have a lawful duty to operate as a journalist.
Yeah. No, it's
That's
I mean, I
the
was
bottom
trying to
line.
play devil's advocate, but if you do that, you completely undermine journalism.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because
And if you don't have journalism or objective journalism, then you're in
it
real
means the
trouble.
police could effectively come knocking your door any day and say, right, you're legally obliged to hand over all of your sources in the morning. Well, do you know what? Every investigative journalist in town would just have to pack up
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
You were so we suspect this is probably the tip of the iceberg, don't we? Really, I mean, you say 2006, Barney Rowan's before that, but you know we had Trevor Burney in here. If you suspect this is 2000, what were they doing during the Troubles? Like, what was it?
Oh, that's, I mean, I've no doubt. I mean, during the Troubles, my kids used to.
Every journalist must have. Did every journalist assume I'm being followed, bugged, surveilled?
I think any journalist working in the realms of security certainly assumes. If they don't assume, then they're very naive. I think you have to assume that. I mean, our kids at home used to joke, because I never used our landline for any phone calls at all. Because I used to say to them, I thought someone might be listening to calls, and you say, so if the phone would ring, and the joke would say, there you are, there's James Bond. And bizarrely, and this is purely coincidence, but the number you contacted me on today, after the first 5 digits, the next 3 digits are 007.
All right.
And I kid you not, but that was a number that was randomly assigned to me when I joined RTE.
But there's so many of them though. Like, I mean, there's obviously there's MI5, there's MI6, then there was like Army Intelligence here. It was Army Intelligence. There was Special Branch. There was all these different, and there was the regular police. They're doing their investigations. So many of them were all running their own touts and their own agents and their own, acting in their own interests.
See, that's the thing. There's so many agents, they didn't have to listen to journalists.
Yeah. Well, we did.
There were more agents than there were journalists.
It's one of my favourite jokes in Give Me Headpiece, where Carl's asking Dad to explain the history of the Troubles, and he goes, "Well, with the UDA, they were all Protestants. No, they were all like mostly British agents. He goes, well, the IRA, now they were all Catholics. No, they were mostly British agents as well." So Carl says, so the history of the Troubles style was the Brits fighting the Brits, with the Brits in the middle keeping the peace. Yes, yeah. So it was nothing to do with us at all. Yes, absolutely.
Well, I remember one former BBC colleague one time, this years ago, he said, when the history of the Troubles is written, it'll be the war between MI5 and MI6.
Yeah.
And he wasn't kidding.
Yeah. But like, I mean, joking aside, I mean, looking back at the Troubles, and you look at all the people who, you just need to read Lost Lives. It really didn't matter how high up or low down you were. I mean, you could be a politician, you could be a high court judge, you could be a lawyer, you could just be the guy who got into the wrong black taxi, thinking you were going home and you weren't. I mean, it didn't really matter. Nobody was really protected during the Troubles, really. I mean, there was no
So I mean, I
hierarchy.
No.
I
mean, I had several close encounters, several close scrapes growing up in West Belfast and Beachwood. I remember one of the occasions I was, I think I was 13 or 14. I've always been tall from age, and a guy shouting, screaming at me to run. And I turned around, and there was a black taxi parked with 2 guys with masks running towards me, with the doors of the taxi open, and only this neighbour shouted, "Run, run." I got a 20-second drop on them and was able to run like Usain Bolt at that point.
decline their invitation.
Yeah, exactly. And then I said, I remember one coming home from playing football one day on Easter Sunday, and the UVF had planted a bomb in Beachwood Avenue, and myself and a friend of mine who was staying from Derry, we walked around the corner, get into the house, and we were no sooner in the house when the house started to shake and this bomb went off, and one of the lads who'd been playing football with us was killed, was blown to pieces. Another guy lost his leg. Yeah. And if we had been 4 or 5 minutes behind, that was us standing in that car. So you say, I mean, it's so much of it was just purely random, wrong place, wrong time,
I mean,
on both sides.
Yes, but when you look at all the amount of espionage and agents running and it really was, to quote Martin Dillon, a dirty war.
Oh yeah, because I read afterwards that attack, that there had been intelligence about that, and there were suggestions that the Special Branch had let that attack take place. One, to protect an informer, and 2, because it was planted where the IRA had formed up to start their Easter Sunday parade that morning. So the intention, I think, was for it to go off earlier, while mass ranks of the IRA were standing near the car.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Great days.
Solid days.
We were like students in Queens in the 80s. Like, I mean, we had really no idea of how deep it all went, did we?
No, because I remember Queens, like, 84 to 88. I remember you're reading stuff. I remember reading allegations about collusion you heard in the news and
Yeah,
stuff.
I remember Martin Dillon's. We met Martin Dillon early on. He started, and then there was Brian Nelson was the first big sort of collusion case, and everyone. Oh, this he was saying this goes far deeper. Well, cut it to grip. That's Republican propaganda, you know.
I mean,
Eyes up, they're not running.
That was the issue, because I remember saying, look, come on, you didn't pay attention to it. He said this can't be true, and then as a journalist many years later, you're reporting these things. You're thinking, God Almighty, actually, this was true. These allegations were true. This really did happen.
Like, I mean, you went into journalism, we went into the law, and then from that into comedy. Like, you know, you look back at that and you've seen, you know, Kincora is another example. You know, how deep did that go into? I mean, all the intelligence services involved in that. If you read Chris Moore's book, I mean, we really were pretty naive back then. Like.
Oh, we were. Yeah, people are less naive now, a lot less naive now, but there's still a huge amount of this we don't know, and never will know.
Yeah.
What if you're a journalist and the police don't bug you? Does that mean you're a shit journalist?
Well, maybe you do lifestyle columns. Well, what matching
What a
coloring?
lifestyle column.
Well, see, I have to say, you see, Tim, the heart of this, once this started to break and revelations started to sort of roll out, we got lots of messages of support from colleagues within journalism, my old colleagues and mates in the BBC, and my current, colleagues in RT. And they said, look, this could be very stressful, what it can be, but like, what journalist doesn't want to be at the centre of a spy scandal? You know what I mean? Like as I said earlier, my street cred just absolutely rocketed. My kids and all their mates are talking to me and asking me about these things. Whereas up until like
suddenly interested in what Dad does.
Up until 2.5 years ago, I didn't have no notion. If I come on the TV, they switched over to something else.
How long were you were with the BBC? Quite a while, weren't you?
17 years.
17
BBC,
years.
yeah.
That was. Were you security correspondent or were you politics political correspondent?
I started off. I went in there in 2001 to Spotlight. I worked for Spotlight for 3.5-4 years, reporter and producer, and then went on to the news desk.
Yeah.
And then an opening came up when Barney Rowan left.
Right.
So he left. And because he was made redundant, I couldn't become the security editor, so they renamed it Home Affairs Correspondent.
Right.
But it was by and large the same brief.
Right, okay.
And talking to largely the same people.
Right,
Or the same kind of people.
A lot of politicians and things like that. Yeah. Just lighten the thing up. What did you think of Jeffrey Donaldson when you met him? Did you interview him many times?
Lighten it up. I would have interviewed Jeffrey Donaldson a lot, quite a few times, and had spent a fair number of times with him, sort of one-to-one, coffees and chats.
There seems to be a lot of rewriting of history of people going, I knew he was a fucking Baden from.
Well, do you know what? Maybe some people did, but I do think, and there's an awful lot of claims being made now, with the benefit of hindsight, because there might have been stories around some of his activities, his alleged activities, but I'm seeing a lot of stories now that certainly I wasn't hearing 10 years ago and 15 years ago. And it's okay for people to say, oh, well, if the journalists knew these stories, why didn't they report them? Well, that's because you have to have sources telling you these things. So it's okay for sources to come out now and say, oh, you have no idea what that man was up to here, there and everywhere. Yeah. Well, if they told us that 10 years ago and, given us eyewitness accounts, journalists would have reported it because that would have been a big scoop. But the bottom line is these people didn't. For whatever reason, maybe to protect themselves. Yeah. Some people didn't come forward with what they knew or what they'd seen. But now it suits them to do so.
Yeah. Journalism sometimes gets a bad rap, and the whole flipping Trump thing, and anybody who disagrees with is fake news and all of that. But there's a lot of people now who don't believe journalists, and you get that even here. People go, the BBC's all biased, and everybody's biased, and they all have agendas, and they all have this, that, the other. How do you counter that sort of stuff?
It's very hard. I mean, it is sort of keeping the head down and sort of relying on the old rules, double source or triple source. It's very, very rarely is a single source good enough for a story. But increasingly, like I read some stuff on social media. I mean, over the last few years, I've read reports about people being killed and they're still alive. And a couple of cases when this happened initially, I panicked. I remember. I won't name who it was now, but I remember getting a call one stage at 1:15 in the morning from this very, very excitable journalist. Said, look, BBC, we're about to break this. There's a major political figure, let's just say, had been shot dead.
Right.
And I said, what? Hold on a minute. So I jumped out of bed, ran downstairs, called him back and said, have you called, it was the priest in the area, have you called the political parties in the area? No. But it's all over social media. I said, what do you mean? He said, it's everywhere on social media. Everyone's reporting that he's been shot dead. So I then called a senior police officer I knew at 1:30 in the morning. He didn't thank me for it. I then said to him, by the way, here, X has just been shot dead. What? God, what? Hold on a minute. Calls me back 10 minutes later and says, no, I just spoken to him. He's very much alive.
Right.
So the BBC was minutes away from
Right,
a major,
even the BBC.
Even the BBC in those early days, and I've seen that happening since. And stories get thrown.
But
legs
the other
without
way,
any credibility.
if he had been shot dead and the BBC hadn't reported as quickly as other people go, you're hiding it and why you're not reporting this? You're.
But it's the old adage, Tim. Better to be second and right than first and wrong.
Yeah. You're working for RT now.
I'm indeed, yes.
Lifestyle call.
7 years now. It's great.
From the colonial broadcaster to the
National broadcaster.
Are the Garda Síochána bugging your phone?
That's a very good question. I don't think so. On the record, I don't think so. Go back to your point, Damon, it's very good because when we moved into our new building, we're higher than the BBC. And every now and then I ring colleagues and I say, hello, I'm out in our balcony. The national broadcaster is looking down upon the colonial broadcaster.
Absolutely.
You're based in Belfast still then?
Based in Belfast, directly across the road from the BBC.
All right, okay.
So we're
It used
just
to be
about...
Farnham House, so that's gone, is it?
Oh, it's gone, thankfully. It's gone.
And anyway, the Garda Síochána wouldn't want. They don't need to surveil you. They just knock your bollocks.
What?
That wasn't me.
What?
Well, I remember, so I left BBC, went to RTE, and they're just across the road.
Yeah.
At the junction of Walmart Avenue in Bedford Street. So my wife says, you changed job, sort of changed jurisdiction, but moved about 80 yards. And the day I left, I always remember the BBC security guards put me into my chair and pushed me across the road at the traffic lights into the doors of RTE.
Oh, very good. Very good. So you're the Northern editor, you Mr. Northern Ireland then for the South? Is that
Yes, Northern editor, and it's political, it's geographic north rather than political north.
Right. Geographical north, so it includes
yes.
all 9 counties, is it?
Correct. So we cover the 6 counties of Northern Ireland or the north,
Right.
plus Donegal quite a lot. We've also been down into Louth and Cavan,
Right.
Monaghan,
Okay.
as well. So that's our sort of hinterland, but mainly it's Northern Ireland and Donegal is where we do most of our work.
And why does the weather stop at the border?
That's a very good question. Yes,
Or
sometimes the map.
weather maps go,
It's because it's Met Earn.
Storm Brady's coming, and you go, all right, well, it's not coming to Northern Ireland.
I think it's because Met Earn, I suppose, because they have no sort of jurisdiction. But it does seem odd that all the
Right.
computer analysis just seems to stop. It's like a big black curtain around Northern Ireland.
And do you enjoy working for them? Are they good?
They're very good. They're very good to work with. Now, I have to say, probably part of it is we run our own bureau in Belfast. There was myself and Conor McCauley, reporters, and then with camera crew. So we run a wee bureau, and we're away from the mothership.
All right.
So when you're away from the mothership,
Right, okay.
you get away from all the hassle and all the infighting and all the politics, and you just do your own thing. But they're very good. They basically let us do our own thing.
Right, okay.
So it's great. So we can respond to stories quickly. We decide how we do stories, and also the breadth of stories. I spent so many years doing the dark side.
Yeah.
Security, terrorism, politics. Now I can do that, but I can also do other stuff.
You can do the fla.
I reported this. I reported on Sunday on the fla, but all other light-hearted stories as well. So the aim is to sort of show viewers in the South that there's a breadth of life to Northern Ireland. It isn't just politics.
Just on that particular point, is RD particularly partitionist? Do you? I mean, you know a lot of people down there. You work with a lot of people down there. Do they regard us as the dark north in a different place in a different country?
Oh, some people certainly do. The news desk, I found them surprisingly receptive. Actually, they wanted to hear the other side of Northern Ireland. And I mean, you meet people. It depends who you meet. If they've been to Belfast or Northern Ireland before,
Yeah.
their view is different. They tend to, if they haven't been, where it's the Black North and we're all mad.
Yeah.
They're a bit scared of us.
They are still scared.
I mean, it's amazing that
See, I don't think it's a bad thing, Tim. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. You know?
But it is amazing.
Fear has its place.
I mean, what was saying about there was like so many percent, 50% of.
Cormac Moore, I do a thing with the Irish
Yeah.
History Boys with Cormac Moore. He's a United Irelander. But
Yeah, yeah.
he said, down south, a lot of people, something like 60 or 70% of people down south, have never been to the north.
That's amazing.
And still regard, as you say, with fear.
It is staggering. Right? Knocking about the Fla a couple of days and met people from Mayo, lots of them. They're still celebrating.
Oh, yeah.
The party's never going to end. And we've met people from Mayo who've been in Belfast before and loved it, but also have met, over the first couple of days, people from Wexford, Offaly, Galway, and Mayo as well, who hadn't been to Belfast before, and a couple of dubs, and they were saying they were really pleasantly surprised. That we don't have two heads,
Yes.
and we don't all have horns, and they said they found the atmosphere really nice, really welcoming, and sitting in a bar chatting to a couple from just outside Dublin. And they're in their 60s, had never been to Northern Ireland before. Like, I said, why are you here now? He says, we do the Fla, but it was in Derry in it was 2013.
2013.
He said, because they heard about Derry, they didn't really want to go to Derry. But they came to Belfast and they're pleasantly surprised, and they're already saying they'll be back again next year. So it depends. I think those who haven't been here still see this as a sort of dangerous place, an edgy place. Those who do come seem to really, really like it.
Well, I was on a minor road trip around Ireland. There, I had West Cork and Kerry and stuff, which I hadn't been to before. So there's, pot
you
kettle
go.
black
Yeah,
and all of that. I'd generally never been to Kerry before. But loads of people, I was trying to encourage people to come up more, but the vast majority of people said never been to the north, But a few people who had loved it and said, I understand.
But I know a lot of unionists, the only time they've been to the south is the Dublin airport.
Right.
Like in and out of Dublin airport.
Or
and all
the-
this.
or
You
the-
say, have you been to Dublin? They'll say to you, I've been to Dublin airport. Still, 2026.
Stephen, did you spend a lot of money when you were on your road trip?
Yeah, well, actually, it wasn't that bad. No, Cork was
Because I read that tourism in Ireland is down 37%.
What?
And part of the reason for that is that Ireland is now the third dearest country in the EU.
Yeah, well, that
So the Europeans,
doesn't surprise me.
the Americans are still coming, slightly less, but the Europeans don't come.
I mean, a lot of the main areas, our tourist areas around Dublin, are very expensive. But I mean, one of our sons lives and works in Dublin, and he will drink in local bars where pints are cheaper than they are in Belfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, so you can find places that are cheaper. And at least when you were there, Tim, they could probably pronounce your name properly.
Well, that's it. How can they pronounce? What's wrong with Vincent? What do they not know about Vincent?
Oh, my surname causes them all
Really?
sorts of
Kearney?
It started off with the
Hi,
first.
Dan. Vincent Kearney. Kearney? Problem with Kearney? No.
You see,
Nordies? No.
when I was following, we went on an election campaign, 2022, and it first happened in Fermoy in County Cork. And this
Right.
man came up, and I was standing with the cameraman, Davy Goldsmith, and your man comes walking up and says, "You're a fella from the TV, aren't you? You can't pronounce your name properly." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You're Vincent Kearney. You're not Kearney." And we just debated in the middle of the street. I said, "I think I know how to pronounce your name." No, oh no, you don't. A couple of days later, the same thing happened again outside a bar in County Clare somewhere. Two women said to me, come on now, your name's Kearney." And then a couple of years ago, outside the RTE office in Belfast, myself and the cameraman were walking along the street. Two women stopped me and said, "Oh, listen, you're that fella from RTE, aren't you? Would you mind?" Says, "Can we have a wee selfie? Because I want to send it to the family." I said, "Oh, God. Okay, no bother at all." Took the photograph. I said, "No bother." She said, "Thank you very much. Your name's Kearney now. Why don't you say your name properly?" There's no letter K in the Irish language. So they pronounce it as a C. And my name in Irish is Unshin O'Carnig, which is O-C. So Rob Kearney,
There's no K in
the great
Irish.
rugby player, was called Rob Kearney.
Yes,
That's how they pronounce his name.
We could resolve this because I was looking you up before we came in here, and there's another
You
Vincent
worked for
Kearney.
My5.
Now you got me worried.
There's another Vincent Kearney, and he's a member of the New Jersey Assembly.
Oh, that's right. I've seen
Yes,
it.
he's a Democratic.
I think he followed me
politician.
he followed
Yeah.
me on that thing.
So we could maybe we'll see how.
thing that Elon Musk ruined.
Does he call himself Kearney? That's what we need to find out.
We do indeed. We do indeed.
I was in a pub in Clonakilty.
Yeah.
There's two excellent Cliftonville players, used to be Ronan and Chris Scannell, and this pub was called, I thought, Scannells, but no, Scannells. I go, no, Scannells.
I think their dad taught me.
Scannells.
I think their dad was a PE teacher at CBS, the secondary school in the Glen Road.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Chris Scannell?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant player for Cliftonville. Anyway, Scannell.
I think their dad was a PE teacher.
And I get
There's
a
also two other Damon Quinns in the world, you know.
Is that all?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Just
Yeah.
two?
One in Australia and one in America.
Right.
I think the one in America is a lawyer. Not sure what the one in
I would
Australia is.
suggest your research skills aren't that good.
I'll never be a journalist. RTE.
On the plus side, you get an easy email address, wouldn't you?
And I get in trouble with certain historians for calling Charles Stewart Parnell Charles Stewart Parnell. Parnell?
No.
Yeah, Parnell. Party is historically correct. Anyway, so RTE, right? A lot of people up north don't watch RTE, right? But a lot of people do. Do you think that RTE will eventually become the national broadcaster? And will you have a decent job with it? Do you think our day is coming?
That'll depend on the politicians, Tim.
We're not putting you on the spot here or anything.
Well, what I will say is I've been staggered at the number who do watch. Derry, you're Colin Eastwood on recently,
Yeah.
and he refers to Derry as RTE town.
Yeah.
Along the border. We were down 12th of July in Kilkeel one year, and we were down because Jeffrey Donaldson was working there, funny enough. And all these Orange men were coming up and saying, hello, how you doing? And we watch RTE all the time. I said, what? Because the RTE weather, they do farming weather, soil temperatures and all that. They go into real detail. So along the border areas, a lot of farmers, green or orange, they watch RTE. West Belfast is a big listenership, all along the border, Newry, Fermanagh and Derry. So there's more than I thought, because when I made the jump from BBC to RTE, I thought, right, okay, any kind of recognition you have at all is gone, you know. And I get more sort of people talking to me in the street now than I did working for the BBC, which astonishes me. Yeah, it's hard to say there are more than I thought. In terms of whether or not it'll become an All-Ireland corporation, well, we've got a nice big office in Belfast there, you know, and it could probably...
It's ready and
Yes, and I do keep telling the people at the BBC they need to be nice to me.
Yeah.
Just in case, you know. But I strongly suspect that may be long after I've retired.
Yes, I suspect something like that. But see, down
I don't see this. We've had this conversation before. I'm not so sure. I mean, I'm just looking at how. I mean, we've gone from a situation where Belfast was all unionist MPs, right? To they got one in East Belfast, just about. We've gone to a situation. There was no way the flower would have been held in Belfast 15 years ago. I mean, look at it now.
Yes, I think you're right there.
Yeah.
I think even 10 years ago it was unthinkable. You know?
Yeah, and look at it now. So I just think things change quite quickly. I think we just don't know. I think it's because it's happening in a vaguely gradual way we don't notice it, but I think they're quite profound, the shifts.
And the other thing is too, I think a lot of people here sort of see that debate around the border about what happens in votes north and south, but the position of the British government here is key in all this as well. You know, and there's very strong suspicions that a lot of those involved in politics in Westminster aren't particularly aligned to this place and see it as a bit of a bloody nuisance. You know,
would that be true from your interviewing of British politicians? Would you?
No, that hasn't gone through, but a level of disinterest and lack of knowledge comes through. I mean, that's why Hilary Benn was different. Hilary Benn knew this place.
Yeah. Yeah,
you knew the politics.
Is that not true down south? Though we don't really know their politicians. They don't really know our politics. We did a couple of shows down south, and you know, you tell jokes about Jimmy Bryson or Naomi Long, and they kind of look at you.
They do. Yeah.
And I did a brilliant joke up north about Enoch Burke, and nobody knew who Enoch Burke was. Enoch Burke.
And the other thing too is if you watch politics in the south closely, you know. You can hear some unionists, some hardline unionists will say, "Oh, we can't come to United Ireland because United Ireland is going to be dominated by Sinn Féin." You know, if you think the DUP don't like Sinn Féin, you want to try the South, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. I mean, I watched some of the debates there. God almighty, it's absolutely brutal. But unionists here don't seem to have any awareness of that at all. You know, it's a very, very different political dynamic.
Yeah. Well, that's my point. Is that they're still very protectionist down there. Do they really want all the hassle of us and having to think about a flag and a new anthem and all of that sort of stuff on the graph?
I think there's probably.
See, I think there is a border poll. I think the South might go, sure, but
Well, it's not the whole
do
thing.
you want the hassle?
Didn't they have a poll in Cyprus at one point, and the guys of the Greeks actually voted against it, against unity.
Having winced on about it?
Having winced on about it, yeah.
Well, I suppose you say it depends when it happens. If it happens, after Ulster counties have won Sam Maguire 6 times, no, they might vote no.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Out of sheer annoyance,
I don't like that. They don't like that.
They don't like that. They don't like that at all. At that point, we are all black Northerners.
Oh, yeah, no. That's, yeah, they really don't like that. Sure. It was great to see Mayo. I'm not a big GA fan, but that was fun. That was
wonderful. I mean, I love GA.
You're a big GA man.
Yeah, I love. A bit of controversy here because I'm an Armagh man now. You see.
Right. Oh right. Oh yes.
So I moved.
Because Antrim and down don't win much.
Well, as one of my old friends at the BBC, she got me a Secret Santa 3 years ago, and see Armagh. I was there when Armagh won the All Ireland in 2002. And the way she put it was Vincent Kearney jumping on the bandwagon since 2002. But I lived
Johnny
there.
come lately.
My kids all played for the local club, Clanern.
Right.
Several of whom players were of their players were on the All Ireland squad. But also when I moved there, I remember my dad's mum saying to me, "You're going home," because my dad was Vincent, his father was Vincent. And he was a barber from Armagh City.
Right.
So the family originally hails from Armagh.
Right.
So
okay.
so that's good
you
enough
have
for me.
legitimacy.
Yeah. The fact that Antrim have no chance of ever winning Sam Maguire has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Why have they no chance? Why have Antrim never again a chance? Is it the population?
It's for the same
demographics?
reason Cliftonville won't win the Champions League this year.
No, it does seem odd because it's the size of the county, but a big half of the county because it's not all
demographics,
Catholic.
yeah.
So a lot of people don't play Gaelic, but when they do, there's a rural and
There's a lot
urban
of hurling
divide.
up north.
They're all-
I know there's a lot of hurling in the
there's-
Glens, yeah.
Yeah.
Because on paper, when you look at the size of Antrim, it's mad that they haven't won.
Yeah.
Getting back to all you went through there and all the worry and the strife and the grief and all that. Are you still glad you were a journalist?
Absolutely.
Was it the right job for you? Like,
It's the only job I could have done.
Oh come on, you've other talents.
It's the only job I wanted to do. Only job I wanted
Juggling.
to do. I grew up juggling answers. I grew up just loving reading and writing, and I watched All the President's Men. I was 11 or 12 years of age, and I watched that, and I thought that's the kind of job for me. You're right. You meet people, bringing down the government. That's pretty good. And that was it. It just sort of, it was like a light bulb, and that was all I ever wanted to do.
Like asking hard questions.
I do, I enjoy engaging with people, and that was despite going along. I remember at CBS secondary school in Glenroe going to careers day, and I'll never forget this. I went in the careers teacher, and he said, "What do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be a journalist." He said, "No, just forget that." I said, "Why?" He said, "Catholic boys from West Belfast, you don't get to be journalists. Think of something else. Why don't you use your physical attributes, your height? Why don't you be a fireman?" That's true, Bill.
right?
So I
This was
went
sincere,
home.
careers advice, yes.
I went home like crushed.
Yeah.
Told my mum and dad. My dad, who was known as Big Vinty on the road, he was going to go up to the school the next day.
All right, and have a word.
And sort things out, let's just say. But in the end, he didn't. He just said, "Well, look, just prove him wrong." So that made me more determined. And years later, the school invited me back to a prize night at the back of the hall. The same careers teacher
yes, yeah.
was standing there, and all the parents and all the kids, I took great delight telling them the story and saying, "Don't let anybody else tell you what you can't do. You decide what you can do yourself."
Did you point at him?
I named him at the back of the hall.
Well,
I did. I named him at the back of the hall. He was still there. Let's just say I carried a grudge.
Well, that you and him were having a pint afterwards.
You're right. We didn't even share a cup of tea. But I just thinking back, I just thought that was just appalling.
Well, careers advice was terrible, and there was no internet. This guy came down and told you, "Nah, you're not doing that."
Yeah, I was like, come on, fireman. So what happened was then I went to Belfast Telegraph. I wrote to them as a 15, 16-year-old, told them I wanted to be a journalist. Thankfully, someone returned and said, "Look, you need to go to university, get a degree, but we have openings for runners." So I ran. When I was 15 and 16, I worked as a runner in the Belfast Telegraph, carrying the news would come out in these sort of like vacuum tubes come shooting out of the news, and you run from one part of the building to another. So I was running, reading the news and reading the sports results before all my friends got it. Cliftonville, following them for a lot of years. So I knew if they won or lost before a lot of my mates did, who weren't at the match. So that sort of lit that fire. And I kept going back in the Belfast Telegraph, and then went to university, got the degree, and went on to their training course. But I also applied to join the fire service.
Oh, did you?
And a month before the BBC, the Belfast Telegraph offer came through, I went through written tests and was told, yes, you passed, you can join the fire service. And then I got accepted into the Belfast Telegraph journalism scheme and wrote to the fire service and said no. And they're lucky, because they asked lots of questions. One they didn't ask was, did you have a fear of heights? I'm reckoning it's almost certainly a tougher course now. But let's just say I was on the verge of joining the fire service, and I couldn't go up 5 rungs on a ladder.
I'm with you on that one.
But I did it because of this advice was still burning in my head. If I don't make it, maybe the only thing I can do.
But you were accepted.
I was accepted.
Wow.
Yes. So
And you couldn't have gone up 3.
I couldn't have got up, honestly.
Where's the fire? High-rise building? Sorry, mate, all the best.
Because I remember
Where's that cat up there?
I remember saying to my dad laughing and saying, you'd be great for bungalows.
I'm the bungalow man.
Stick him on the moorings, he'd be fine.
I couldn't even have got down the pool.
That's very true. We went away on holiday in Tenerife years ago, when my late mother-in-law was with us. It was in January, and there was this fun park, So it was in the middle of January, it was 25 degrees, and we were playing Frosty the Snowman, and you're walking about in your swimming costume, and there was this huge big slide. I had to go down. And I just took one look and I said, no, not for me. And despite, peer pressure doesn't work with me, all the kids, everyone was like, come on, go. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. And then one of our sons, who's a bit like me, was cajoled into it. And he goes up, and this thing is, must be, it looked to me like about 300 metres high. It was enormous. And my son goes up to the top, and I see him looking, and then I see a commotion. And I work out, it's my son making his way back down the stairs. He went all the way up.
Like father, like
he
son.
came to me and he said, Dad, at least you admitted you have a fear of heights. So have I. He said, there's no bloody way I can go down that slide. But my wife and the other kids, what? Away they went, no bother at all. There's no way. You'd have to throw me off that blindfolded.
Well, Vincent, the fire brigade's loss is the PSNI's gain. Thank you for all the information. Enjoy spending your money in the bar in Lurgan. Last thing, does this case go any further then? This is going to go on, isn't it? Are other people going to come out of the woodwork?
Other people, yeah.
It's gonna get worse.
Well, there's this thing, the McCulloch Review.
Yes.
Which is basically the police investigating themselves, more or less, is it?
Well,
Sorry, one quick. Has it stopped?
has what stopped?
Has the surveillance of journalists stopped?
Truthfully, I would doubt that very much indeed. I mean, I think, there are lawful ways they can do it, but I would say they'll still find...
John Boucher had a chat with you and said, sorry about that.
John Boucher phoned and gave me, a personal apology, which was good of him because he called me immediately. But like I've asked several times, the officers who did this to me, are they still in the police? Have they been disciplined? Have they been sanctioned in any way? Yeah, the answers haven't come. Are they still there? MI5, the BBC lawyers tried time and time again to find out exactly what information they got and how they use that information, and we still don't know that. There are lots of journalists out there, lots of journalists who are doing good investigative work. There's no way this is limited to myself, Barry McCaffrey, Trevor Burney, Barney Rowan. I would say...
Just the trouble stuff, it's all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Do you think they would do you again, or do you think you're someone immune now?
You would hope you're immune, but I did jokingly say, I can nearly do anything next year, and then just say, MI5 planted that.
Right.
to get me back.
So the lesson is, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not listening to you. Vincent, thank you very, very much. Thank you very much once again to our sponsors, the Eric Lynn on the Ormer Road. Thank you very much. If you're up in South Belfast, pop into the Eric Lynn. Excellent bar. Once again, don't forget to get your Give My Head piece tickets for next year. They're on sale now. That was episode 101.
Wow.
Episode 100 was Lisa McGee, Derry Girls Writer. Episode 102 will be Shane Todd. So tune in, follow, like, subscribe, and all of that sort of stuff. Thank you once again to the Erical. And once more, many, many thanks to Vincent Kearney.